Angelina Jolie adopted the black girl who fixed her broken-down car. But the secret on her bracelet would reveal the terrible truth. In the most unexpected moment, everything changed. Angelina Jolie was driving on the Malibu road north of Los Angeles when it never crossed her mind that her car would suddenly break down. It should have been a pleasant drive back from a meeting about her new movie project, but something unexpected happened. Her black Range Rover had stopped on the side of the road, smoke pouring from under the hood. Although she knew nothing about car repair, she opened the hood and stared at the smoke with her hand on her forehead, not knowing what to do. When she picked up her phone for roadside assistance, she realized she was in trouble. Her cell phone had no signal on this hill. The nearest gas station was miles away. "Great," she muttered to herself sarcastically. There was nobody around, but in the distance she noticed a little girl walking toward her. Of course, this didn't excite her. How could a little girl help her in this situation? But something she had never imagined was about to happen. Hold on. Before we continue with our story and its surprising ending, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to turn on notifications. Let us know in the comments what city you're watching from. Your valuable support is important to us. 12-year-old Zoe Martinez was walking home from school in the hot midday sun, her heavy backpack on her shoulders. She noticed the expensive car on the side of the road and the worried-looking woman beside it. As she got closer, she recognized her as someone familiar, but she couldn't identify who. As she got a little closer, she was amazed to realize that the woman was Angelina Jolie with her perfect makeup, elegant clothes, and signature hair. The real Angelina Jolie was standing here, next to her smoking car. She walked this road almost every day. It was a boring, monotonous routine for her. She never imagined that one day she would see one of the most famous actresses in the world on this road. And she was stranded. And you, have you ever met a famous person in an unexpected place? Zoe thought to herself, so these things happen to famous people too. I should definitely talk to her. She gathered her courage and started to approach Angelina Jolie. "Hello, do you need help?" Zoe asked timidly but with determination. Angelina Jolie looked up at her. "Hi, honey. My car broke down. The worst part is that I have no cell service. I guess today isn't my lucky day. I'm waiting for someone to pass by to help me." Actually, luck was right in front of her. She would soon realize that. "I know how to fix cars," Zoe said, surprising for her age, taking out a mini flashlight from her purse. "My stepfather taught me. Would you let me take a look?" Angelina Jolie hesitated. Was it possible for such a young girl to know how to fix a car? But there was nobody else around, and she had no choice. Besides, the way the girl spoke was very confident. She sounded like she could do the job. "Sure, let's have a look." Zoe approached the car and stretched her hands forward to reach the engine compartment. The silver bracelet on her wrist glinted in the sunlight and instantly caught Angelina Jolie's attention. Her heart began to race. The bracelet was very specially designed, with little art brushes and palette motifs. She had seen that bracelet before. She had even chosen that bracelet herself. 7 years ago, she had it specially designed for the children of Hope Valley. Each one was unique, special for each child. "That bracelet is beautiful," Angelina said, trying to hide her excitement. "Where did you get it?" Zoe looked at her bracelet. "This one? I've had it for a long time. It was on my wrist when I came to my new family. But there was more to this story than she was telling." "Are you adopted?" asked Angelina Jolie, trying to hide her curiosity. "Yes. I was taken from an orphanage when I was little. It was called Hope Valley Children's Home." Angelina Jolie was silent for a few seconds. Hope Valley Children's Home. She hadn't heard that name for years. The art project she supported 7 years ago took place at that very orphanage. It was a project she called Creative Minds. She had even had special bracelets made with different art symbols engraved on each one to develop the children's creative abilities. After that project, the orphanage was suddenly closed, and no explanation was given. This situation bothered her at the time. However, due to work and life getting busy, she didn't think about it too much. "Do you know Hope Valley?" Zoe asked, noticing the expression on Angelina's face. Yes, I used to support it," Angelina said thoughtfully. Zoe leaned over the engine, and after a few minutes of inspection, "The problem is here. The air filter is clogged and there's a problem with the fuel pump. But I can fix it," she said confidently. Angelina Jolie couldn't hide her surprise. "You really do know how to fix cars?" "Yes, I do. My stepfather owns a garage. I've been working with him since I was little. I learned a lot about fixing cars from him. I have small hands, so I can get into difficult places." Zoe took small tools out of her bag. She always had repair tools with her. Then she began to work methodically. Every move was calculated and efficient. As Angelina Jolie watched her, questions were growing in her mind. This girl was skilled in technical work, not art. But Hope Valley was for an art project. Why was this girl so good at mechanics? Zoe knew something, but she wasn't saying what. This couldn't be a coincidence. "Okay," Zoe said, wiping her hands on her pants. "Now try to start it." Angelina turned the key, and the car started instantly. It was as if it had never broken down. She couldn't believe her eyes. "How is that possible? You're so good at this despite your young age." Zoe smiled. "Age is just a number. It's what you know that counts." Angelina Jolie was touched by the girl's words. But now she wanted to ask about the bracelet on her arm. "Zoe, do you know more about this bracelet? Who gave it to you?" "According to my parents, I had it when I came from the orphanage. A nurse named Diana got me out of there. And she died very young." Angelina Jolie's heart was pounding. Diana, she knew that name too. Diana Peterson was a young nurse working at Hope Valley. She had helped her a lot with the Creative Minds art project and had a very strong bond with the children. But Diana had suddenly resigned in the middle of the project, and nobody had explained why. That's when the pieces of the puzzle in Angelina's head slowly started to come together. But the picture wasn't clear yet. Why had the art project at Hope Valley been abruptly ended? Why had Diana gotten Zoe out of there? She had to find the answers to these questions. "Zoe, you are a very special and talented girl," Angelina Jolie said. "Can you give me your phone number? I'd like to meet you again." "Of course," Zoe gave her the number. "But why?" "Because there are parts of your story that aren't being told. And I want to know the truth. Both your story and Diana's." After dropping Zoe off at her destination, she sat deep in thought with her head resting on the steering wheel. This couldn't just be a coincidence. This little girl, wearing an art project bracelet, but a technical genius. Something was wrong here. She didn't know yet that there were very dark reasons behind the closure of Hope Valley Children's Home. And she didn't yet know that Zoe's talents weren't entirely natural. That night, Angelina Jolie was sitting at home, going through her old files. The sudden ringing of the phone distracted her from her research. It was Zoe. "I'm sorry to call so late, but I wanted to tell you something I thought might be important." "Sure, honey, go ahead." "My stepmother Olivia told me that Diana left me a letter, but he said it was not the right time for us to read the letter. So they never showed it to me. Maybe that letter has the answer to what you're looking for?" Angelina Jolie stood up excitedly. "Zoe, we need to see that letter now, not later. It could be very important. We can meet tomorrow, right?" "Yes, we can meet tomorrow after school." The next day, she was waiting outside Zoe's house. She couldn't wait until after school. It was a house with a white picket fence in a small but clean neighborhood. When Zoe opened the door, her stepmother Olivia was there. "Mrs. Jolie, it's amazing to see you," Olivia said excitedly. "Please come in." In the living room, Olivia put an old dusty box on the table. This is everything Diana left behind. Zoe was so little then, we didn't know what these things meant. When Angelina Jolie opened the box, her heart began to race. Inside were photographs, documents, and a sealed envelope. For Zoe to be opened when she turns 18, the envelope read. "Haven't you opened this letter before?" asked Angelina. Diana gave very specific and clear instructions. We were to open it when Zoe turned 18. But we don't know what it says. We even forgot the box existed until today. Zoe took the envelope and opened it. The letter inside was written in Diana's handwriting. "Dear Zoe, if you are reading this letter, it's time you knew the truth. You were not just a child in care at Hope Valley. You were part of a special program." These words, written in the very first lines, were like a bomb dropping in the room. What special program was she talking about? The letter continued. "A man named Richard Sterling bought Hope Valley. But the art project was just a cover. In reality, experiments were being conducted on gifted children. Your mechanical intelligence is one of them." The terrible truth began to emerge. Angelina Jolie shuddered as she heard the words. Richard Sterling. She had heard that name. Famous billionaire, owner of technology companies. "Diana continues," Zoe said, her voice shaking. "I had to get you out of there because his plans were getting worse. There's proof of everything on the data device I hid in the bracelet. But be careful. Sterling is very powerful." Now even Diana's mysterious death was a big question mark in their minds. Could there be other motives behind it? Zoe immediately began to examine the bracelet in her hand. "There's a compartment here," she exclaimed. There was a tiny hidden section in the back of the bracelet. Everyone focused on the bracelet. A small data device came out of it. Olivia brought her computer, and they connected the data device. Dozens of files appeared on the screen. Photographs of children, test results, experiment reports. "This is horrible," Angelina whispered. The files showed it clearly. At Hope Valley, children were being tested with intelligence-enhancing serums and special education programs. One file in particular caught her attention. ZOE-07, Mechanical Intelligence Project. Inside were photos of Zoe as a baby and test results. The scientific record of an innocent baby. "I'm a lab rat," Zoe said quietly. "That's why I know so much about cars." "No," said Angelina Jolie. "You are not a victim. You are a survivor," Olivia said worriedly. "But Richard Sterling is very powerful. If we reveal this information, he could hurt our family." Just as they were wondering what to do, Angelina Jolie's phone rang. A number she didn't recognize. "Mrs. Jolie, this is David Sterling. I'm Richard Sterling's son." The name filled the room with tension. "I want to talk to you about my father." Angelina Jolie answered. "How did you get this number?" "That's not important. I know you've been researching Hope Valley. We should meet. I have something to tell you." "Why should I trust you?" "Because I hate what my father did too." "Okay. Meet me tomorrow at 3 p.m. in Beverly Hills Park." When she hung up the phone, Zoe and Olivia were looking at her. "This could be dangerous," Olivia said. "Yes, but it's the only way to find out the truth. We have no other choice," Angelina said. "Zoe, you stay in the house. I'm going to talk to David Sterling." "No," Zoe said firmly. "We've been together from the beginning. I want to come with you." Angelina Jolie saw Zoe's determination. This girl had a very firm stance and a will of steel. "Okay, but we'll be very careful." When she went to bed that night, Angelina was thinking. She had no idea what would happen the next day. Did David Sterling really intend to help? Or was this a trap? At the same time, across town, David Sterling was going through confidential files in his father's office. After Richard Sterling had left the office, David had managed to hack into the computer system. What he saw on the screen horrified him. Hope Valley was just the beginning. His father had run similar projects in at least 20 other cities. Thousands of children had been affected. "Ah, that's enough," David muttered. The guilt was unbearable. For years he had been skeptical of his father's charity. A person couldn't appear more good than they actually were. That's why he had been trying to find the real truth behind it. But he had never found any evidence now. With the evidence he had, he could end it all. The meeting with Angelina Jolie was the first step toward justice, not only for Zoe, but for all those victimized children. David Sterling had been trying to find out about his father, Richard Sterling's crimes for years. He and his father were not on good terms. Richard had ignored his son for years, depriving him of a father's love. How could a father who didn't show love and care for his own child show love to other people's children? This contradiction had always made David suspicious, and he was always looking for proof, as if to get revenge on his father for years. And he had finally found it. David was going to be his father, Richard Sterling's worst nightmare, because the truth has a nasty habit of coming to light. And do you and your father really have a bond of love? Angelina Jolie and Zoe were waiting for David Sterling in a quiet corner of Beverly Hills Park. Soon they saw David walking across the park toward them. "He's here," Zoe whispered. David Sterling was a man of about 35, medium height, and he seemed to be in a hurry. He was carrying a thick file folder. As soon as Angelina saw him, she realized that he looked nothing like his father. There was sincere sadness in his eyes. "Mrs. Jolie, thank you for coming," David said. "And you must be Zoe. When I found out what happened to you, I am so sorry. I wish I could have acted sooner." "Do you really want to help?" asked Angelina carefully. David opened his file. There were dozens of documents, photos, and CDs. "I hacked into my father's system last night. It's much bigger than Hope Valley. There are similar projects in 20 different cities. A lot of children have been affected. One project in New York, another one in Miami, all for different abilities. Music, math, athletics." Angelina Jolie was horrified as she looked at the documents. "My father called this project the Genius Program. He tries to find orphaned children and enhance their abilities. Zoe's mechanical intelligence was developed with serums and special training." Zoe listened quietly, but Angelina Jolie could see her trembling. "And why are you going against your father?" Angelina asked suspiciously. "This is a family matter. It's better not to waste time talking about the details. Besides, these children aren't seen as human beings, but as test subjects. My father calls them products." David's voice broke. He was ashamed of his father's cruelty. This wasn't just a crime of the past. It was an active plan in progress. "We have to stop this," Angelina said with determination. "We have evidence, but my father is very powerful. He has a lot of political connections. I need to work with the FBI. But on my own, nobody will believe me." Angelina Jolie replied, "You are not alone. I will work with you. I am just as powerful as your father." David looked hopeful. "Really?" "Yes. But first we have to put this evidence somewhere safe." At that moment, Zoe spoke up. "I will testify too. They have to hear my story." There was determination in her voice. Angelina Jolie looked at Zoe. This little girl was so brave, but she was also very vulnerable. Then she said the words that would change both their lives. "Zoe, do you want to come with me?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, do you want to live with me from now on? Do you want to be my daughter? You'll be safe and you'll have a family." She had wanted to say it from the very beginning, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. Maybe she had been waiting for the right time. Zoe couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Are you serious?" "Very serious. You are a very special girl and you should live the life you deserve." That evening at Zoe's house, her stepmother Olivia was both happy and sad. Ben, the stepfather, was there too, with tears in his eyes. They loved Zoe very much and were used to having her around. Deep down, they didn't want to part with her. but they didn't want to deny their daughter this opportunity. "Zoe, this is an incredible opportunity for you," Olivia said, holding back tears. "You've always been a special girl, and now you're going to live the life you deserve. But I'm going to miss you," Zoe said. "We'll miss you too, sweetheart. But this isn't a separation. You can see us whenever you want. You will always be our daughter. And I'm sure you'll do great things in the future," Ben said with a smile. The next week, everything happened very fast. David Sterling contacted the FBI and handed over all the evidence. FBI Special Agent Sarah Chen was shocked after reviewing the files. It was the first time she had witnessed such a case in all her years of career. "How could they hide such a big operation?" she said. With Angelina Jolie's support, the media became interested in the story. CNN, NBC, all the major channels were covering it as breaking news. The Sterling Empire scandal was the headline not only in newspapers, but in world media. Similar cases started to be investigated around the world. Now Pandora's box had been opened. Richard Sterling was suffering from his son's betrayal. How could his own son do this? He was questioning himself. Richard Sterling was then arrested and sentenced to life imprisonment in the first trial. He would spend the rest of his life behind bars. He would pay the ultimate price for what he had done to innocent children. "Justice has finally been served," said Angelina Jolie, who followed the trial closely. "Yes, but what now?" asked Zoe curiously. Angelina smiled. "What do you want to do?" "I want to help other children. What do you have in mind?" Zoe's eyes lit up. "A technology center. For children. Both education and fun. Let them discover their true talents. But not by force. Through enjoyment." The opposite of what Sterling did. Angelina Jolie was surprised. "That's a great idea. And you can show this center in movies, so we can reach more children." 3 months later, Zoe was officially Angelina Jolie's daughter. But they weren't just living in their Beverly Hills home. They had bought a huge building in the center of Los Angeles, Tech Genius Academy. "Mom, look," Zoe said excitedly. "The robotics workshop is ready. Kids will be able to build their own robots here." Angelina couldn't believe her eyes as she walked around. 3D printers, coding labs, virtual reality rooms, music studios. Everything was designed to foster children's imagination. "And the best part," Zoe said, "is that we don't force anyone. The kids learn whatever they want." "Mom," Zoe said one evening, "I want to always wear the bracelet Diana gave me. It no longer reminds me of bad memories, but of being strong." "You were always strong, sweetheart. You just needed to realize it. And I helped you realize it." As Zoe lay in bed that night, she thought about how her life had changed. Once considered a test subject, now she was the daughter of the most famous actress in the world. And she had met her on the same boring road she always had to walk. And more importantly, she was now a loved and protected child. And David Sterling had kept his promise. He closed Sterling's companies and donated his entire fortune to Tech Genius Academy. He was now a technology director, making children's dreams come true. This time, instead of exploiting children, we are unlocking their potential, David said happily. Nothing would ever be the same again. Zoe was no longer just an experiment, but a young inventor who inspired thousands of children. And Angelina Jolie had received the best gift of her life. Not just a daughter, but a future-changing partner. The Tech Genius Academy model that Zoe created would be copied around the world. Angelina Jolie's new movie would be about this center. Don't forget, no truth can be hidden forever, and sometimes those truths are revealed by a great miracle.